Hello viewers, we're back with this Honeywell air filter. Since the last video I did some investigation into the wiring and I determined that I believe these three wires are the windings and this is the motor's common. So theoretically, connecting each one of these wires individually to the high side of the power with a low side going to this wire should give us the 3 speeds of the motor. And then what I'll do is I'll just remove the rest of this stuff because it's not necessary. That's all for the ion generator, which we don't use anyways, so it's irrelevant. Now there is one thing I don't quite understand, and that is the fact that there's a high side wire that comes right off the mains and goes directly into the motor and then comes right out. And I can't seem to get a continuity reading across this to any of these wires, so I'm not sure exactly what this is doing. It's possible that this is functioning as some kind of a step-down transformer for the electronics board or a step-up transformer for the ion generator. I have no idea what that's doing. I don't need it. It's irrelevant. So what we'll do here is we're going to test this out and make sure that nothing is contact. Actually, I'll just disconnect everything here. This goes to the common as well. I'm not sure why. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the common of the cord, connect that to the motor's common, and then there's one of these flamion things on here. Let me see if I can get this off. Sometimes you can uncrimp these things. This is going to be one of those scenarios. And let's reconnect this hot side to one of the windings. And since this is just a test, I'll just loosely put that on there like that. And so then we have this here, which I don't know what it is. This, which attaches to the frame that mounts the motor, so I tend to think this has got to be something to do with the ion generator as well. So let's just see what happens when we plug it in with this configuration. I tend to think that we should just get the motor running at one speed, whatever that particular speed may be. Yep, and that's exactly what we got. We got the motor running at one of the speeds. So let's change this over now to another speed. Okay, that's a slower speed, that's probably low. And then let's try the last one. That's probably the medium. So those are the 3 speeds, and I think what we're going to do is we're just going to wire up a new switch. I bought a basic 3-speed 4-wire switch here, and I'm just going to cut all this other stuff out because we don't need it, and we're just going to run the motor. That's it, and it'll draw the air through the filter and it'll accomplish its purpose. So we're going to have to figure out a couple of things here. We're going to have to figure out how to mount the switch into here, because that's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, because this is obviously doesn't fit on there. Let's see, does the original knob fit on there? It does not, but I could probably shave this down and make it fit on there, because that would work. Okay, so we'll have to do that. I'll have to shave down the post on this switch so that the knob can fit on. It doesn't have to go down all that much, just a little bit. So we'll do that. But let's get all this stuff out of here. So I'm going to disconnect this because that's irrelevant, and I'm going to take this off, and this wire just becomes irrelevant. So we'll have these three as our motor speeds. I'm going to take this off because we're going to potentially reuse this. And this, I'll just clip this off at the beginning here. I'm really not sure what this does. I don't have a need for it, so we're just going to remove it. Okay, and this is all interconnected into here. I want to remove these connections. There's a screw here which I'll take off. Disconnect this. And I'll put this screw back just as a placeholder. Something was rattling. I heard kind of like a vibration. So I'm going to have to check everything and make sure it's all tight. Something may be loose somewhere. Anyways, we'll get to that afterwards. Second screw over here. Disconnect that. Disconnect that. Okay, and I'll just kind of coil these up here and stick them inside of this thing, out of the way, because we're not going to use that. Okay. Alright, that takes care of that. Now the motor, it's going to be kind of tricky to undo that. I do want to undo it because I'm thinking I want to put a couple drops of oil in there, give it a little bit of a service while this is open. And I also want to undo these screws to get these wires off of here. That may be more trouble than it's worth though. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. Maybe I can just undo it with some pliers. Well, maybe not that particular simpler set of pliers, maybe these. Nope, not with those either. Okay, let's see here. How easily will this come out? Well, maybe easily. Let's see. May not be too bad. Okay, there's 2 screws at the bottom there, 2 screws up here at the top. That may be everything. Okay, yep, that was everything. Set this aside for now. Back to that in a minute. So here's our fan unit. And it looks like this isn't possibly could come apart if we undo these 4 screws here on the outside. Okay, we got, I guess this is going to be a total of 8 screws. Just about ready to come. Okay, so in fact, now I can take this whole thing out. I believe this is the ion generator, or whatever that is. I don't need it. So now we have the motor here, which, let's see here. I think the easiest approach is going to be to take the blades off and then go from there. So there's a little ring up on there. We kind of push that ring off of there. Not sure what the easiest way to get to it is. Maybe like this. Pretty stiff on there. Okay. It's been on there for a long time, so it's going to be kind of stiff. Oh, okay. Well, that just, I'll just decide to come off. That's fine. Yeah, it's not really budging too much. These don't have to come off, but I would prefer it. Is it coming? Yeah, it is starting to go now. Okay, so that's off. Oh, camera freak show there. They put Loctite on it. Stupid goofs. It's not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. Yeah, I mean, it's spinning pretty freely. I don't feel any play in them bearings at all, in any direction. Well, maybe I'll just leave it alone. I don't like to mess with the equipment. Oh, you know what? No way, that's ball bearing. Holy cow, I can't believe that's ball bearing. No wonder it still works. You know, I was thinking, in another video I had mentioned replacing some bearings in box fans with ball bearings. I wonder, I gotta figure out what size this is, because I'm gonna order some of these and see if I could take them out of some other fans, because I got some other fans with noisy bearings that I'd love to fix. And if I could pull out the sleeve bearing and put in a new ball bearing, that would really solve the problem. That would be really cool if I could retrofit a ball bearing in there and some other motors like this one is. Okay, let's see if this will... This probably glued on too on this side. Okay, well, that explains why the bearings are still good. They're ball bearings. It's kind of stiff on there. I gotta be very careful with this, because I know that these CAS motors did have a tendency for the bearing holder to break. There we go. Just want to see. There we go. That'll give me enough visibility. So yeah, it looks like the bearing just sits right in there. I think it's entirely plausible that you could take the sleeve bearing out and just slip one of these in there. I think that's totally possible. I'm going to order some of these this size, because I think this is a pretty standard size. The number is 636Z, maybe 626. I don't know. I can't see it. I write this in such a small font. Dumb goofs think you got to use a magnifying glass all the time. Whoops, too blurry. $636Z maybe? I don't know, I'll be able to tell when I get on the computer screen, but anyways, that's fascinating. I'm going to order some ball bearings like these and see if I can fit it into another motor. Very interesting. Okay, well, I'm glad I took that apart this far, because for whatever reason I just never thought to do that. Thought about it in other motors, but I never thought about it in one of these. Now it makes perfect sense. Okay. So you're always learning when you work on technical stuff. Always learning. It's too tight. Yeah, put it a little bit too tight initially and it's going to stay too tight. Just back this out a hair. It's being a little finicky. What's going on here? Doesn't really want to be any tighter than that. Not sure I can keep that loose and still be confident in it not going to fall apart. And if we tighten this all the way back up, that's the way it was. So I would expect it to be able to work. There it goes. Okay. Alright, so that's good. That's spinning nicely. These are surprisingly dirty for being after a filter. Maybe I'll give these a quick cleaning before I put them back in.